I don't believe you'll tell me when we're live.
I've just clicked the button. Hello, good evening.
Hello, everybody. I knew not to believe you. Michael starts singing and encouraging me to make little noises. I know something's happening. Hello, everybody. How are you
I
all?
was proposing an intro for us. Let's
It
make
was the
sure
Muppets.
everybody can hear us loud and clear.
That's good.
Nice, nice.
I can hear us both loud and clear. Michael, how are you?
I'm very good. I had a very interesting week. I had my son. His bubble was contaminated or something along those lines. So I was teaching year one
Sorry,
maths.
what? For those of us who don't have children in England, what does his bubble was contaminated mean?
So his class or classes are put in a bubble in his year one, and if someone is suspected of having the coronavirus, then
They all have to go home.
they
Hello,
all have
Ezrael.
to be home. So yes, I was teaching year one maths, which resulted in me learning about digraphs and split digraphs. And then one of my friends, who's a teacher, said, "Have you covered trigraphs yet?" And I just went, "I'm not your friend anymore."
No.
I did learn stuff, which is worrying.
Hello,
I
Big
think
Baby.
I learnt them as not with their names, because I definitely knew what they were.
Well, maths and education does change constantly.
Digraphs is English, but yeah, I was doing the maths and I was doing digraphs, so subtraction was the
digraphs
easy one. I could do subtraction.
And we have Melicon, and we have
Hello,
Roderick.
guys. How you doing?
Apparently, trigraph is English. Are you perhaps thinking of giraffe?
I now want to do a giraffe impression.
Where is everybody? Which will make sense to anyone who grew
Good
up
evening,
in
kids.
England
This is not a
in
children's
the early
show.
90s.
Yes, this is not a children's show at all.
Nope.
Although we do try and keep it clean. That's the important thing.
Very good.
How about you, Yann?
I have been trying to put together this little, well, I'm not trying to put together, I've been putting together the demo that we showed last week for what is now called Canopy Cars, although we can also pronounce it Canopy Cars.
Oh, I like that.
It goes with Godot and Godot.
You know what that might be? That might be the fact that I'm lazy and haven't put my headphones on. If Yann has echo, that is because
Yann
I'm
has a
recording
lot of
him
echo.
and
I
I
don't
can
think I
hear
do.
it too.
Checking.
Which of you is in the broom cupboard?
Are you asking which one of us is coming out the closet? Because that feels like a quite long conversation. Like, I'll have it with you individually, but I don't know that we should be having it like as a group. I don't know who's listening and what their views on the world are.
Yeah, the live stream's not a group about that today. No,
Although
not
you
trying
should
to-
have heard what Mikey was suggesting earlier, what we do for the live stream. I had to remind him this is a family show.
I was asking that you show your thing. That's all. Anyway,
Terrible man. Yeah. So, for those of you who don't yet know, I released the demo as a sort of quick test to everyone on our Discord earlier in the week, and I'm now going to release it for everybody.
I shall load it up my end. Is it exactly the same as the one I played earlier? Yeah,
Yes, it is.
This is a lot of fun.
I've now put sounds in, so if you download it before, there is an update.
Yeah, which is really cool.
Oops, hang on a minute.
And as always,
Right link.
caveats do apply.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see if I can find it. Canopy Cars from today. What's today's? Today's the 30th.
It is the 30th.
And okay.
I'm eating Fisherman's Friends because I think they're delicious.
Oh, I downloaded it earlier, and I don't appear to have it.
You played it while looking at me.
I don't appear to have it.
Would you like to download it again while I fill in some time?
Have you given people the link in the description? You have.
I've just given the link in the description. You can download it now if you want while Michael's getting his life sorted out, or I can talk about it. Today's edition was sound and a little countdown, because before you could just play. There are a couple of things I would like to tweak, but I think I'm ready to start actual processing this as a course. So my plan is spend a little bit of time, get some videos recorded this week, put it out to our lifetime members, get some feedback from them, and then release it to the rest of the world. So you guys should be able to get hold of it in a week or two. That's the idea.
I thought you weren't going to put a time scale on it. There you go, guys. Yann has committed.
No, that's not what I said. I said I'm not committing to how much I'm doing per week.
This is true. I shall switch me over to full screen, which is this, I think. There we go. And then I can show Yann my screen. Can you see me, Yann?
I can see your Canopy Games thing. It was
Nice.
a shame about Darth.
So there will be desktop audio as well. It should be quiet enough that you guys can hear over. It does have controller support, which is pretty awesome. And we can have up to 4 local players, which is also really cool. Yann, do you want to explain the difference between these cars?
Yes, we have lots of cars. They have different stats, and I've given them all a name. The idea was to make each of them feel very different. And what I did was I went through and found the actual real-world weight of their counterparts, which did lead to a fun conversation where Mikey was saying, it's too unrealistic, the Formula One car flies off to the distance if you hit the curb. It's like, yes, it's made of plastic. Of course it does. It's a rocket on a skateboard. But they're quite fun to drive. The bigger ones will take forever to get up to speed. I will point out there is a difference between top speed and acceleration. So Mikey was saying earlier when he was testing this that the tractor is much faster than another car. It's not. It's just hitting its top speed earlier.
I think I've just been through them all there.
I think so.
I like this
all
coupe.
fun names.
3,
The Robin.
2,
Yep.
1, go!
I do like that vehicle selection system.
I'm going to try and not hit a curb and repeat earlier. Whoa! And there is a pit that you can slow down and heal yourself in. And true to our word, we made sure there are no brakes.
Yeah. We had a conversation about brakes. There is a reason why there are no brakes. It's not just, ha ha ha, no brakes for you. It's you can either have brake or reverse if we have 4 people on the same keyboard, which was the original brief. Because otherwise, whoever's on the cursor arrows can't easily access that extra key the same way everyone else does, and is therefore at a disadvantage.
Oh. Hey, I'm doing so much better than earlier on.
Yann is not reading the voiceovers. Who did the voiceovers? They are from Kenny's audio voiceover pack. I don't know who that person is. Mikey, you're doing so much better than you did earlier on.
I'm fine. I've got to do a 3-point turn without any brakes.
8-point turn.
No, it's definitely
we have
3.
reverse, not brakes, so
Yeah.
you can use reverse to slow yourself down, but yeah.
I'm a dead man if I
way he
touch a
makes
curb
it. No
again.
way he makes it.
Place your bets. I'm not going to try too hard.
Yeah, unlike Magracer, this doesn't have that same, like...
Whoa! Look at that wheel!
Oh, look at that wheel. The wheel's my favourite part. And yes, the wheels counts collision. If you get hit by someone else's wheel, you will take damage.
And then we can go back to
here.
the main screen and we can try a different car. A pickup van. So this is a great example of one of the heavier vehicles.
3,
Cleaner. It'll
2,
take a while to
1.
get up to speed, and then once it
Go.
does, it's just a monster.
Here we
Someone
go.
did point out in the Discord with the fire truck, which is now called the Unfuego. Once you get up to speed, you feel like there's no real reason to ever accelerate again, and the brake doesn't seem to do anything. You will decelerate, but it decelerates the same power as your acceleration, so it will take you forever to slow down. That's
Like
part
a
of
spaceship
what-
then.
Well, it's like being in a speeding fire engine with the brakes cut. Because that's what it is.
Yeah, the heavier vehicles are definitely easier to handle, albeit being slower. I
I mean,
love
that's
this.
the trade-off, right? Like, the
Yeah.
2 race cars are very, very, very fast, but if you make one mistake, you've effectively lost.
Yeah, and if you guys have already downloaded it and started playing with it, would love to hear what you think about it. So the plan is this will be the end point. There might be some changes, of course, but this will be the end point of a course coming soon.
And this is probably the end point of this demo. And the idea with this, and probably any course we do going forward with a game behind the course, as opposed to like God of 4, let's just do the whole thing. We'll do a demo. Demo's available for everyone to play. You don't have to get the course. You don't have to want the course. But if you want to learn how to make a game like this and then turn this into a full game, multiple tracks and all the other stuff you can do, this is how you do it. Right now we have a very short, simple, single track. So there's no real reason to expand it. Mikey, why don't you show off the Speedy Zoomer, or the Scoomy?
The Scoomy. The fastest one.
Yep.
You just want to see me fly.
3.
I do.
2. 1.
If you reverse on the corners, you will be okay.
I can do it. I believe in myself. Wow, this is quick.
It doesn't show in the video, but it's incredibly responsive. And it's the kind of thing where actually going into the pit is a real risk. Because you might take more damage going in.
No.
No. Go on, Mikey. Oh, yeah, he made one mistake. He's effectively not... Oh, what about
No. I've got it.
Will he make it?
I'm going to do that.
What do you think? Another 4 laps?
No.
So yeah, it's effectively tissue paper. So yeah, that's now available on the link that I quoted up above. We're gonna put some things on the tweets about it and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
Play it, have fun. I realize a local multiplayer game when this pandemic is only of slight use. It will work on 1 to 4 controllers as well as keyboard. Some of the vehicles are way easier to drive than others. The tractor is surprisingly easy to drive, but not what you would call fast. And I did learn some interesting things, like tractors are lighter than ambulances.
The more you know.
Very interesting. So
yeah, I think that's lots of fun.
It's lots of fun, and we're going back to grid maps. We use them in a very different way, unlike with Godot Getaway, where we did a procedural generation with a grid map. Here we're hand painting them. We've got all the trees and rocks and bushes, which we're loading in little clumps, effectively. We're making little scenes of collections of trees and doing it that way. We've got little parked cars by a car dealership that you can crash into if you want to and not go flying. There's a lot you can do with this, but this is just a very simple how to make a local multiplayer kart racing game. The split screen alone is worth the price of admission as far as I'm concerned, because it's a fun use of grid container and viewport container.
Yes. Yeah, it makes a lot
And
of
learning
sense.
how to get shadows in split screen was a little annoying.
Well, that's part of the learning journey, isn't it? The fact that things
It wasn't
are
immediately obvious. Each viewport has its own shadow atlas, and it's off by default.
Now, here's a spanner. I see your works.
Spanner is wrench in America. Although wrench is what we call aluminium.
Moving swiftly on. If anybody has got any questions on the Canopy cars, then do fire away. We'll do our best to
I do
answer
quite
them.
like Canopy cars. Why am I so crimson in this picture?
I don't know.
I'm going to change my white balance.
I could change your white balance. I could make you purple.
I think only one of us should do it, and it should probably be me, because there's a big gap between way too blue and way too red.
Nice.
All right,
In fact, I'm going to be awkward. I'm going to turn off one of my heating bars. So this yellow light that's casting on me is because I'm in the garage, and the garage is cold this time of year. It was like 17 degrees C. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit for quite some time.
Off he goes.
Yeah, didn't need to go for long. So yes, so that's what Yann's been up to. I've been up to a load of things, admin and stuff, and also starting to work on the big Blender course coming soon. So there'll be videos, I'm hoping, shipping either the end of this week or the beginning of next week, which is really exciting. And I have one special guest on the course confirmed already, and I will be talking to them tomorrow, which is really, really exciting. On top of that...
Is it Idris Abla?
Who's that?
Is it Chiwetel Ejiofor? Is it Martin Sheen? I don't know who special guest is, so I'm just guessing actors.
Okay. I'm waiting to speak to them, one tomorrow and one at the weekend, and then they'll be confirmed, which should be awesome.
Question from Big Gamey. Ooh, new Blender course. V2.9?
It will have, well, 2.91. We're on 2.91, so it'll be off from that onwards, which should be really exciting. There are so many, not necessarily features as such, but there are so many things that speed up your workflow in 2.91 that I'm really excited to see what we end up making from it.
Now, we've talked about how we're going to be doing, well, you're going to be doing this big course, but how we're going to be doing big courses going on, things like God of 4, etc. Any of these like big sweeping courses. But do you want to give us a quick rundown as to how this is going to be structured and released?
Without confusing people, I cannot guarantee that, but I will try my best to...
Well, I'll start with this question from Big Gamey. A general course or a specific type of model? I don't know why I'm reading your questions in that tone of voice. I apologize.
That's absolutely fine. That means that I don't have to read it and get myself confused. And because I've not got that on the screen. Yes, I have. It's on that one. Okay, so cool. A big course, I reckon, and it's not certain yet because I'm still working through the sort of like the learning journey overall, but it works out to be 1, 2, 3, 4, a lot of sections at the moment. What did I count it as? Like 15 or 18 the other day.
Nobody can count that high. What are you asking me for? Maths is nan.
So at the moment, it's structured in such a way that it's going to cover 18 specific parts of Blender. So it'll be a big sweeping course acting as an introduction to Blender, much like my last course was. And...
if I may clarify, it's not just one big sweeping course. It's one big collection of courses, each of which are dealing with a specific idea or a technique or a facet.
So I'll expand on that in a moment. So, for instance, all of these kind of, if you think, have an intro at the beginning of them, because it will be essentially a beginner's course. So there's obviously getting started, block modeling, curves, sculpting, materials and textures, lighting, rendering, rigging, animation, compositing, motion graphics, video editing, simulations, particles, and there's big changes on particles in 2.9. And it may be that actual section comes out later on when it's more mature at 2.92 to 2.93, etc. We've got the grease pencil, hard surface modeling, shaders, a deep dive into that, Python, and I've got a note here, anything else, take my money. So the whole goal here is to cover everything in a very basic way. But each one of these pillars, if you were, you'll be standing at the bottom of these pillars. So when it comes to modelling in general, we might start with block modelling. And obviously, there's more and more modelling techniques to go on from there. The same with texturing. You can very quickly in Blender just texture something. But then if you're talking about... Yes, yeah?
We'll be starting with the pillars, but you'll be starting at the bottom of the pillars.
Yes, so the pillars grow. So this big course here will be like a breadth of knowledge. And then for like the modelling itself, that could be taken out and be the first section of a bigger course focused on...
I was legitimately confused by your use of pillars there, so I apologise.
Not modelling pillars. Academic pillars. Pillars of knowledge.
Not helping.
Fair enough. So, so things like how Cinti Studio does their modelling, although you have to be careful there. I've heard they're very aggressive. They're very, very lovely chaps. But if you start making stuff that looks like theirs, rightly so, they'll ask you.
Oh yeah, they want to protect their work.
Yeah.
But low poly itself is an aesthetic as well as a technique.
Yeah, definitely. So. When it comes to all of these techniques, initially, for instance, lighting, you need to add light to a scene, otherwise you can't render it. And we'll go through like basic 3-point lighting and just put emissive surfaces and things like that. But a larger lighting course can go deep into depth of lighting techniques, theory as well. Because as you know, Yann, with what you used to do...
I do.
I've not told Yann he might be teaching this one.
No idea what's happening here. It's like the first time I've heard about lighting course in Blender.
But lighting's a huge thing. It can change the feeling of your scene, the look of your models, and if you light a model
lighting is painting in 4 dimensions, is what it is.
and lighting can color a scene dramatically as well. So there's so much to cover,
I mean,
and
literally, it's what it does. It
cannot be one course. That's the thing that I've worked out here. This cannot be one course because it'd be like 200-300 hours long, and no one would take it for fear of doing it. But the idea is to give everybody a taster of every part of Blender, what it can be possibly used for, and then the most popular ones to begin with will expand upon and make them into chunkier, more intermediate and advanced courses. Yeah, lighting something. It's annoying. Everybody focuses on the modelling. Some people focus on the texturing, and then it kind of filters out towards the end, which it is a shame.
I mean, it's a big and nuanced topic, but it's worth playing with. My favorite trick, and in fact, Mikey's almost done this now. If you want to make something look filmic, virtually every movie of the past 25 or so years colors everything in amber and teal.
Yeah.
And Mikey is in amber and teal right now. He's got this lovely amber backlight caused by his lighting, and then the more blue light from the front makes him look teal. So Mikey actually has a very cinematic look. I look like I'm a home video because I have a single warm color hitting me. I have this sort of bright orange here and a dark orange here, but it's just orange, 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 orange. Yeah. I don't look like I'm in a filmic situation. Whereas if I were to...
Have you got your lights set up? Boop.
Change my color balance a bit, I could probably make myself look a bit more professional.
It's so difficult when you've got a webcam whose software changes how you're looking on a dime. And there's no accident that my lighting's set up like this. The only extra warmth today, literally warmth, is coming from an infrared heater in the corner.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, just a quick thing with the lighting. Just changing the color temperature of this lamp now means I'm not being lit by one single color, which gives the image more depth. It gives it more relatability. If everything is this flat orange color, it looks very home video.
Hey Daz, how you doing? Mike is demonstrating what happens if... I'll have you know I got this from Amazon Warehouse. not eBay. Yeah, I've got this because it looks rough behind. There's a boiler and a dead wall.
That's the weird thing. That's not his green screen. That's the image he chooses to green screen on. It's the weirdest thing. It'd be like if you took a picture of your garage and green screened it behind you.
It's better than what I had before. I just like a plain background, but yeah, maybe I can.
Why did you pick a green one? It just looks like it's not.
I don't know. Don't question me on my life choices.
Now I look like an orange on an iceberg. Thank you, Roderick. That's
an orange on an iceberg.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have got a lovely green shirt I was going to wear today, and that's obviously a no-no with a green screen. Mm-hmm. I could be just the talking head for this evening.
You could be. Yeah. So the new Blender course, which will be a module of courses, and you can start at the bottom of pillars, but more effectively, you can choose the modules that are relevant to you. So if you want to take all of them, you can buy the bundle, do the whole thing. And if you just want just the texturing, you can look at the free intro to it, see if that's what you're looking for, and then purchase the whole thing.
Yeah, I think that's really important that people are able to pick their journey. So if you're already experienced with texturing, then you don't need to take that part. Or more likely, you've done lots of modelling, but you want to learn about the UV unwrapping, the texturing side of things. Then you don't need to get that first part of the course. Or you just don't take that, you skip over and go to the section that you do want to focus on.
What does the rough look like?
The rough look like... You know what? I'll do it.
Do it.
Do it. I'm going to have to take headphones off for this, though.
It's all right. We'll say mean things about him now.
Ta-da!
Quite different, isn't it?
There we go.
That is a literal look behind the scenes at Mikey's studio.
My garage.
Yeah. In the middle of my street.
And to answer the question, what's the stuff taped to the door? Well, if I don't block out the light, I can't control the lighting, so during the day, lighting, I have to change my camera all the time, and that's behind my computer over there, so I don't fancy doing that. I don't want to, no. Green screen, green carpet. Yeah, pretty much. So I also want to show off something else I've been working on. So we last week talked about our Patreon.
Mm-hmm.
And towards Magracer. So for those excited about Magracer, we set up a Patreon. Yann is finding the link for that now for the chat, I presume. And this is nowhere near final, but I'll show you work in progress. And I need to do 2 buttons. So this one, and then that one there. Cool. So this is a remake of the Vapor. We can see we've got a bit more detail on the engines at the back there. And also working on the proper paneling. Now, there are some panel gaps, but these are better than Tesla's, so we're all good there. And some funny artifacting.
And we just got sued by Musk.
Well, you should see his panel gaps.
Sorry?
On his cars.
Oh. So, obvious question, Mikey. Why are we redoing these models? I mean, there is a good reason, but let's find out what the reason is. Why are we redoing these models?
Because the original ones were not game ready. And that made a huge difference. Let's come back for us talking.
Yes. So, for instance, the organic, which was my favorite, which is this weird future squid one, about half the geometry was internal. So when you're making a texture for it, the UV map doesn't work. So you end up with actually quite low detail texture for that craft. So this is a way of saying, well, let's not render a bunch of geometry that we don't want to see, and let's give ourselves the actual texels. Is that
play with? Yeah.
I got it right.
Yeah. So when it comes to one of the first models was not. I'll see if I can find it quickly, but it was not at all set up to be game ready.
Well, why are you doing that? Dad is saying. I take it the contribution covers a general contribution to CG as well. Oh, to Canopy Games. No, this is ring-fenced. This is a way that we can justify working on Magracer as a passion project. We have talked about opening up a Canopy Games patron, but honestly, at this stage, it's trying to figure out what kind of rewards make sense with that.
Yeah.
Like, we could do things like discounts on courses, but we need more courses in our catalog, which means that rather than spend time on the Patreon, we need to get more things out, and then we can talk about ways to boosting it. So it's a bit of a egg chicken situation.
Yeah, totally.
I never liked that. What came first, the chicken or the egg?
Dinosaur.
Egg. Dinosaur.
So let me show off the first model that I made when it came to anything to do with Magracer. And one of the issues here is, if we have a look at these rivets, I thought I clicked on it then. Good. Obviously not. So these rivets here are actually icospheres. So I used a plating generator to generate all of the extra greebles and stuff along the craft. But before you know it, you're at a ridiculous amount of geometry. I can't remember what this one comes out at, considering it's low poly as well. And let's turn on. Where do they put it these days? They've changed places. Statistics, here we go. So this one comes in at a whopping 71,000, I think. That seems a bit low for all that there. But it comes in at 71,000, despite it having...
well, this isn't the real surprise. The real surprise is the delta.
The delta. Let's see if I can bring that up. One of them, I have improved it since, but one of them did have a ridiculous amount of geometry, like upwards of two.
Displacer map on high quality settings. We've been looking at different ways of making some high quality things. Okay, so here is the delta, and the delta has a surprising amount of geometry on it, considering how simple it is. What's the try count on it?
That's interesting. So those aren't refreshing. That has triangles 8,926.
And this is entirely because of the grid at the back.
Yeah, that grid needs to go.
Yep. It was this thing that was like, it's not going to make a big deal. We'll try racing around with the Delta. It turns out we're not getting any performance improvement because that grid is still generating a huge amount of geometry. So
not only
it's
that,
the
but
little
it
things
fills up the
that make
screen
sense
as
when you're
well.
rendering that don't work too well in games.
Yeah, definitely. What was the other one? The Vapor. That's down here. Boop. Yeah, that was upwards of 120,000 polygons. But if you look at this surface here, there's no reason why it needs all of that geometry.
Yep.
That's just the way that it ended up coming out. This, for all intents and purposes, is a plane. You know, there's no change there.
There's also this big internal space that we put in and gave a texture to that we really don't have to. Mikey decided he wanted that big gap, but it doesn't work in the game.
Yeah. I wanted it when we originally designed it. I was like, this would be really cool to have a turbine or something like that inside there. So I left space for it, and of course that didn't happen.
But internal planes, because we're using proof of concept render images or render models in the game. So that's why we're going back and looking at them.
And also we're learning a lot as well about making sure nasty geometry like that doesn't happen. And again, not game ready. And I would actively encourage what we did on the first run, because it enabled us to get a prototype game out nice and quickly.
It's a big part of the process. But now when we talk about optimizing and generating new teams and the rest of it, it's a way of getting a much better workflow. Decimate.
Yes, you can use the Decimate tool and set it to planar, I think, and then geometry that's similar will be able to be blended really nicely.
Yeah, the way that Blender used to show stats was a pain, but things are improving. So yeah, we're getting to the point where, so the idea is we'll get one of those really cleaned up and ready, properly UV map, not just auto maps, because it was just, we need something, let's just generate a UV map and bring it out, which meant that the actual UV for the organic craft was really hard to work with because it was just little slivers of texels.
I mean, even this, I'll go back to showing off my screen for a second. So even this here, this is the UV map for this the Vapor that we were just looking at. Mm-hmm. And can you identify?
There's a lot of dead space, and yeah.
Can you identify any of these parts? It's like,
take a look at the organic.
I'll show that, but I do want to show before that so there's the organic. Yeah, let's show the organic because I found it. So the organic, you can see there's lots of dead space around here. I'm drawing blue on blue.
A lot of this is internal.
Some of this is internal, yep.
So it's really hard to get like a good quality image on that. So it's spending the time making those.
When you compare it to the Delta, now the Delta's if you look at that, yes, there's a ton of stuff that could be improved here, but you can see that this area on the right is the bottom of the craft. The area on the left is the top of the craft. There's no ambiguity there. There's the back of the craft here. So you could import this into anything. You could import it into Photoshop and paint on those pieces, knowing...
Or MS Paint.
Yeah, why not? And then there's some other quirky stuff going on here where it starts to get less clear, and we've obviously got the grating. So this is a mixed bag here, but it's certainly a ton easier to work out what's going on. And of course,
this craft also doesn't have any of the moving parts, and one of the interesting things with the moving parts is they have internal geometry that have to be UV mapped.
Yeah.
Trim sheets, says Melicon. We were talking about that.
We certainly were. So trim sheets are an amazing way of texturing because you can make sure you've got really high levels of detail on your model without having to unwrap. Well, you still have to unwrap the entire model, but without having to have a unique unwrap. So there'll be parts of texture that are repeated over the surface of a model. In fact, trim sheets was one of the things we were going to go through if the Kickstarter for this had been successful.
True. So yeah, that's looking very exciting. And once we get one of those, I can spend time actually getting the actual textures for each team made for the new craft. Yeah. Then after that, getting it in game. Like, we'll take our time, make it look good, make it work right, and get the actual performance of the game much smoother. There's also some weird things happening with the AI on the Andromeda level, where after 2 laps the game starts slowing down and they need to track down where that's happening.
It's a much bigger track, isn't it? So we think
it's a much bigger track, and I think somewhere some of the numbers are getting too big.
Floating point.
If you disable AI, it doesn't happen, so it tells me it's probably somewhere in the AI, but it might not be.
It could be numerous things. On the displacement map for higher quality settings, now displacement or parallax is something slightly different, but displacement is something that is not native to Godot, so it's not something that we can easily implement. It works fine in Blender, absolutely fine, and I know in Unreal you can set up your shaders to do so. I don't think it's available in Unity, but with Godot you'd have to build a custom shader to import the displacement map, which is just a black and white or a grayscale map of heights. So it is possible, and I don't have the coding chops to code it in currently, or rather,
don't have the shading chops to shade it in currently.
Yeah, the coder for the shade. I wonder if you could do it. Yeah, shade graph. Interesting.
So yeah, that's where we're looking at Magracer right now. We did have some very interesting demo sounds and a sort of what would you call that? Wasn't a project proposal from the folks at Newer as to what they would like to do with the games. We need to get a hold of them in the next few days.
So we just make sure everybody's on the same page with Newer. Cool. They are a music company down in London. Is that correct?
No, they are a sound design and music company down in London.
Okay, I was close. I got the place right. Yeah, and they approached us during the Kickstarter about doing sound design and some of the music for the game, which we started talking to them about. And obviously, Magracer didn't fund, but they still want to work with us moving forward. So more on that space later, once we've met back up and discuss what we want.
I mean, they wanted to provide some. Well, they had some great ideas for music. There's some great ideas for engine sounds, which is still very placeholder. Weapon sounds, especially. There's some really nice ideas with the Dragon's Breath. So very interested to see how that pans out. I'm also curiously excited about Canopy cars.
So if you've not played it yet,
if I hadn't already said I want to start working on Magracer in the background, I'd work on Canopy cars in the background. But I don't think 2 passion projects at the same time is a great idea.
It's a great introduction, though, to a basic car game.
Yeah. Now, I know that we've had a few people joining us that weren't there at the beginning of the stream. Mikey. Well, let's ask. Folks, what car would you like Mikey to drive in Canopy cars? Would you like him to drive the Medicar? Or the Crime Duster 3000?
I really want to redo the music for this.
I mean, you said you were going to, but then your kid was home all week, so you couldn't. So I just went and picked something free. So
life
that's
sucks.
What we have now. You're also not showing us anything.
I was waiting for the car to come across. I thought I'd not disappear until then. But yeah, I can do that. And I can show you that as well.
Okay. So, cars we could have. The Crime Duster 3000 or 5000. Oh, we're up 2000. The Deliberator. Farmhand. The Dupe. The Cleaner. The McSwag. The Ridinator. The Scoomy out of the way. The Thingbob. I ran out of names. The Calzone, bit proud of that one.
And
there's
we're
the
back
Crime Duster again. No, you've missed a whole bunch.
Nope.
Yeah. The Flat Duo. Where's this? Yeah, you didn't have the Law and Order. Medicar. It does need an ice cream van, but it wasn't in the Kenny pack, so I didn't make one. I did think about making some more, but I didn't.
Thingamabob!
The 99er. Ah, there's one that won't work for anyone outside the UK, but good reference.
I'm going to go for one that won't kill me straight away. The Clever.
The Clever.
3, 2,
one, go!
I don't know why I left those boxes in there, but I did.
And I've been avoiding them ever since. I'm gonna on this loop round. I'm gonna ram into them.
So yeah, I posted it earlier, but I can post it again. Is it this one? No, that's not Patreon. La 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 la.
Smash! Oh no!
You are in what is not a smart car. Clever. So yeah, this should be, well, it is out now for Windows, Mac, Linux, so have a play. Here Mikey's going to try and fix up his little car. I miss my smart car. It was a fun car.
I used to have a smart car. One of my most favourite.
The speedy zoomer and finish at least 2 laps. Oof, there's no way you can do 2 whole laps of the speedy zoomer. I've seen his driving. He's struggling with this one.
It's fine. I'm fine.
By the way, that is happening because of the way I did the explodey wheels, and I was going to fix it. It was like, no, that's brilliant. That's the best bit of the game.
Okay, I accept your challenge, Roderick. I accept your challenge. Let's find this. Oh, there it goes. Do.
I'd love to know why your files work differently to mine.
3, 2.
Here we go.
1, go.
So this car has almost 3 times the speed of the last one. 3 times the top speed, and will grip, and it's very low. But if you hit anything, you're gonna go flying.
I've got to do 2 laps. Oh wow. Tight.
Yeah, this might actually be easier on the keyboard. 1.
I'm sorry about making anybody sick with my driving. And I've left my cursor in the middle of the screen. Let me get that out of the way.
Good timing.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
The benefit of this system is that, I'm just using the stuff from Kenny, and I'm going to show you what you need to look for and what you need to fix if you're using someone else's assets. Like, some of the stuff with Kenny, well, all the cars are facing the wrong way, so you need to change the mesh around. Some of the wheels have -1 scale, which is a thing. You need to fix that. But I'll show you that with 1 or 2 cars, and then you can either go through and make your own ones with their own values, or you can download the ones I have and tweak them.
You know what I'd love to see in this?
I don't really want to record the same thing 16 times.
So anybody who has got a getaway, make some 1930s cars, and then we can
make
have
any kind of car, really. I mean, you don't have to use these assets, right? We encourage you to go beyond that, but here are the assets that we have. We have some interesting things going on because the landscape here was inspired by Kenny isometric set, but it's not made by Kenny. The cars are made by Kenny, but the cars don't fit the original tiles. So these tiles are actually scaled up by 2, which is why the curb is as high as it is. And one person mentioned the curb's a little high. We'd have to remake all of the grid maps in order to get rid of that.
Yeah. I throw you down the gauntlet. Woohoo! Done.
Very nice. Very nice. Now, can you do that with the tractor without getting bored?
No. Absolutely not.
So yeah, that's the current state of Canopy cars. I don't know why I keep pronouncing it like that, but I do.
I'm okay with Canopy cars.
I mean, I am intrigued to see what happens with multiplayer, because it's one thing I haven't been able to check, the balance in the multiplayer. I did see some fun footage of Mikey playing it with his, I guess, stepdaughter? Is that the correct word?
Yeah, that'll do.
Yeah, fine. And having to give her a 10-second head start. This is before I changed the car balance and looked up the actual values of the weights and the rest of it. But yeah, it's a very simple little game that I'm very proud of the split screen solution. It's designed with 4 people around a keyboard, so it's very, very minimal. I mean, I was getting feedback from people saying things like put in cartoon weapons. It's like, that's real feature creep.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what button I'm going to put that in on. But
Well-
like a big cartoon hammer, while funny, is just not worth it.
Yeah, I am going to. Kareen's children are back, so I'm going to get them to hover around a keyboard one evening this week and get them all playing it.
And part of it is getting them to yell at each other, which is going to happen.
I hold you responsible, Yann.
I'm fine with it. Because I am 70 odd miles away.
Yep, you're safe from the blast.
Yeah. I will only just be able to hear them.
Something with the background.
Yeah, I mean, the background can be fixed. I've just used a generated sky, move the sun to a position I like it better.
Yeah.
And then put in some landscape. I took E-Raccoon's track and his landscape 2, and I merged them together into a single grid map. And splish, 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 splish.
Yeah.
Invisible wall that gets visible when you get too close. Splat.
Well, there's the lake as well, so if you want real scope creep, we'll add boats.
No, we won't. Because you need to think about what you've just promised, Mikey. Grid map has a single collision.
Yes, it has.
How are we going to detect the water?
They're going to be flying
Never mind
boats.
generate the collision.
There's nothing wrong with my plan whatsoever.
I'm going to give you the same answer I wanted to give you when you said we need brakes, which is you code it. Hoverboats. I mean, look, Magracer is effectively hoverboats. What we should do is remake Magracer with these assets.
Yes.
We'll take the wheels off the cars.
No, just turn the wheels at 90 degrees. That's fine. I'm pretty sure.
Fine.
Pretty sure the DeLorean in Back to the Future is not trademarked.
I think both of those things are trademarked.
I remember doing that on the Godot Court on Godot Getaway. I inadvertently rotated a wheel around, and they all came in that way round.
Very nice.
It's like, yep.
I want to quickly. So, one thing I do want to get people's thing on.
Idea, feedback.
Luke.
Oh,
Okay.
Let me make you full screen.
Share my screen.
There we go.
So currently, I'm bringing in all of the car models as GLB files,
Yep.
right? Then I am converting them into these scenes.
Yep.
I'm wondering if I just take these GLBs, remove them from the project, and just give you guys the original meshes or just the original files, and then link you to where it was originally. So show you, here's the process I went to. So for instance, when I take the fire truck and I see, okay, first off, this fire truck, if I take a look at it, positive Z is that way, which means it's facing the wrong way. So I need some way of easily rotating this whole thing with all of its children and making it work. And then if I look at the wheels, some of the wheels have -1 scaling, which means if I put a vehicle wheel in here, it's going to face the wrong way and roll backwards, which means your vehicle will not move because half the wheels will go forward and the other half will go backwards. So I'm thinking what I'll do is I'll show you the process of what I did, and then rather than saying, now you do this 16 times, it's if you want to make these yourself or use your own ones, by all means do so. If not, here's the ones I made. I'm wondering if that's too much of a shortcut. Would you guys rather I just gave you 1 or 2 finished ones and let you do the rest? Or would you guys rather I gave you all of them and just walked you through what I did to get there?
I bet the answer's all of the above. Give us all the things, Yann.
Just let Mikey drive for a lap. Yeah.
I'm starting to think they think I can't drive. Crash, crash, crash.
I mean, you're better than some, I know.
I do have a habit of just holding down the accelerator through the entire thing, so there is that.
That was something I had to explain to you, and you're like, the racer just can't do corners. Like, you can slow down on a corner. Like,
But that's not how I drive.
Like in real life, where you got a supermarket trolley or cart, shopping cart if you're an American, and you're going around the corner, you don't accelerate into the corner.
Well, you've not been shopping with me, yeah. That's all I can say to that.
A complex course of how Kenny has made the assets. I think that's one that Kenny would have to teach. Like, I could guess. I do all the hard work and just say what you did. I mean, that's my impulse, right? Is to say, here's the basics of what I did. You don't have to do them. But from an educative point of view, from a pedagogical point of view, that's actually traditionally seen as less valuable.
Yeah.
Right? Traditionally, the educator in me wants to say, okay, you guys need to do this all yourself and internalize the knowledge. But actually, I don't think that's that useful. As long as you know, here's the things to look out for when you're getting free assets, especially free assets that weren't designed for the engine you're using. Because some of the problems I found just won't come up in other engines. And Kenny doesn't use Godot much. Like, there's no reason why he should. So I don't know that making you guys do this for all 16 cars or just not have all 16 cars isn't just penalizing you in the sense that I had to do all this. Now you have to.
Sounds a bit Victorian in its way of teaching.
A little bit. Yeah.
And now write 50 lines. I will import.
Well, no, the
GL.
Victorian way would be a lot more. You don't get to actually touch it, but I want you to memorize everything I've done, repeat it back to me, and then sing Rule Britannia 3 times at the end.
Britannia rolls away.
With the book I'm reading right now, I probably really shouldn't go into my problems with that song.
And that will be for another stream.
Yes. On a different company's site.
Yann Rants. A new channel launching tomorrow.
Yann's fun and exciting rants on British colonial history.
That will probably do surprisingly well.
I'm less qualified for that, but yeah.
We get people in the chat going, yes, I'd watch that, I'd subscribe.
Now, one thing I want to be very, very, very clear on Canopy Cars. I am not doing online multiplayer with this. This is a quick, simple little course to teach you how to make a local multiplayer game. Yes, you could also make this online multiplayer. And I'm sure if you've taken Got a Getaway, you could use some of those principles and make yourself an online game. That's not what we're doing here. Okay, so if you want to play this online multiplayer, I don't know, use TeamViewer or something.
We should totally try and see if that works.
I have no idea.
Might be a bit laggy.
Aren't you banned from TeamViewer for having worked in IT support or something?
Me? No.
Yeah.
They detected that I used it a lot internally in my house. Because I kept connecting to different computers. They were like, oh, we think you're a corporation. It's like...
But
fine.
corporations are people.
I now use VNC Viewer.
Yann, okay. Yann is obsessed with history and really quite political and tries very hard not to do that here. Because you guys didn't pay for Yann ranting against the British Empire. But if you guys want to give me money, then okay, I will start up a separate channel.
It'd be a great way of venting, though, wouldn't it? I've got to set up a Mikey Rants channel.
Bit like that old YouTube channel, David Mitchell's Soapbox. You ever see that?
Yeah.
About 10 years back? It was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
So when are you starting the channel, Yann?
Oh, that thing we just discussed just now?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, on top of that.
It'd be brilliant. Yes, I would. Yeah, I'd watch the hell out of that. Please do it.
Are we just doing a history one, or are we doing a general Yann's rants? Like, are we going to talk about my rant against imprecise language?
Well,
like the time I was on a plane and the captain said, "Ladies and gentlemen, just to let you know, we'll be on the ground momentarily," and I panicked because on the ground momentarily means we're going to bounce. And this is not reassuring in any way. And I don't think that was the right tone of voice for that.
Oh dear.
When I
Yeah,
walked
they're
past
just different
the Terminal
playlists.
Snack Bar in LA. Like, I don't think Terminal Snack Bar is a good thing to call a restaurant.
The Last Supper.
Yes. Or when I saw the Ultimate Burger and read it as a threat because ultimate means last.
Oh dear. Oh, that's great. So if you guys got any questions, either about Yann's new channel,
Well, there was a question I wanted to ask you, Mikey. What have you been playing?
what have I been playing? I have been playing a lot of Zomboid.
Brilliant zombie.
Anybody else? That's either a washing machine or a helicopter in the back garden. I think it's a washing machine. It's very
fan.
It's my biggest fan. So yeah, I've been playing quite a bit of Zomboid. I've been having lots of fun with that. Played Squadrons. They have added in a new map that I don't think I got to play at the weekend, which was a shame. You don't get to pick your map, and that really jars me. You just assigned a map randomly.
Oh, well, it could be a helicopter in the washing machine.
It could be. I just heard waka 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 and thought,
Oh, no, that was Fozzie Bear.
no. You know what I did try recently? I tried F-19 Stealth Fighter.
What, from 1990?
Yep.
I remember that game.
It is not a. It's not a playing game at all.
No, it's not. It's a strategy game. Because
Yes,
the moment you open the bomb bays, everyone sees you.
Yeah,
The
it's a
game
stealth
is,
game.
when do I do that? Yeah, it's a stealth game.
Originally, it's like Splinter Cell. You're just a plane. I played Among Us with the family the other week.
Outer Limits by Obsidian on
nice.
Black Friday, and it's perfectly fine. It's a very good first-person role-playing game. It's exactly like many of them in many ways. For instance, I'm being incentivized to look through every single drawer that I go through because there is a tiny chance that it might be something really good. I am collecting loot I don't want, and it's quite clearly Firefly. Like, it's absolutely Firefly. Up to and including half the crew you unlock are just Firefly characters. With a twist. Which, I mean, I'm a huge Firefly fan. Like, I'm a browncoat, so it's great. But it's like, I mean, I didn't like this character, so can I drop her off? Like, do I have to take her with me?
Did you get any games over the weekend with the sales being on?
Yes, I got Outer Limits by Obsidian.
Tell us about it, Yann. I resisted. I've got too many games I want to play that I've already got. I mean, some of the deals. I was very, very, very tempted, but no.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, I like some games that have no end to them, so I never feel like I've completed them. Ark is a great example of that. The Project Zomboid that I like playing is an open
weird about
world
Ark. Game. Ark has a plot and a story. Oh, a plot.
Does
a structure and a mission. Yes, it does. But it's so big and grindy, it's not even worth showing people where it is. And you're expected to find it yourself and piece it together yourself.
Yeah.
But there are bosses and progression and huge grindy mechanic and end game stuff. And yeah, no, there is actually a plot in Ark. And the recent expansion shows me that I've lost it.
Yeah.
It doesn't work as well that way. I saw this really interesting, very political video essay a couple of days back. It's like 20 minutes long. It's called "Oops, I Accidentally Did a Colonialism in Minecraft." And it's talking about how this guy accidentally recreated this horrible colonial resettlement program with NPC villages just because of the emergent mechanics of the game, and they ended up just kidnapping a bunch of villagers, putting them in boats and moving them to a different continent to this village because we want you here now. And then just stopping and thinking about what they've just done. And then talking much more broadly about looking at these games from that lens. And I mean, for me, as an academic it's a fascinating way of looking at games. I think for most people, it's kind of, can I just play now?
I play Minecraft quite a bit with the kids. That's always a lot of fun. Need for Speed? Yeah.
Blackosh has new Need for Speed Underground. Dad's been enjoying Nufish.
Need for Speed Heat, I presume.
I thought it was just being Scottish. I don't know.
Divinity Original Sin 2 was on sale, and I want to get into that game, and I don't have time.
Although, like a lot of these games, I find I play the first quarter and then get distracted.
Mm.
And that really came to a head when I played Numenera, and I played that all the way through. And the same thing happened to me with another one that's set in the Bronze Age. The first act is really polished and huge campaign, lots of characters. The second act is kind of, yeah, whatever. And the third act is like 10 minutes long with no content because they know hardly anyone's going to get there.
I had a big issue with Oblivion back in the day. Loved the game, modded the hell out of it, really enjoyed the mods. Never ever completed the game though. I'd like just go down one route for maybe 80 hours and then just go, oh, I fancy playing a different style character. Oh dear.
Actually, I'm just going to look up which game it was. Because I found out a couple of years back. It was Oblivion. Terry Pratchett was an avid Oblivion modder.
Oh, nice.
He wrote under an assumed name, and he wrote all these narrative mods with these huge complex laws, and ended up using that as the seed for one of his novels. Well, I like the idea of Terry Pratchett using a pseudonym to write mods for a video game, because he's probably my favorite author.
I still need to read those books.
Like those books.
There's quite a few of them. I've said
40 odd, and they're not all worth reading. And Terry Pratchett himself said that.
There have been several diagrams that I've seen, the order in which to read the books for it to make some sort of chronological sense.
There's the chronological sense. There's the fact that his writing changes dramatically. So,
yeah,
friends of mine were reading the Witch books, and the first Witch book, the first one isn't worth reading. The first one is Equal Rights, and it's fine. But the first one everyone reads is Weird Sisters, and Weird Sisters is solid. It's funny, it's solid. And then you read the second one, which is Abroad, which is it's like a quantum leap in quality. The humor's better, the character's better, and then you get to Lords and Ladies, and the other two can just go whistle. But this is a book, and this happens, and then it gets to a certain point where his writing suddenly starts diminishing again. So it's knowing which ones to read, which was like, if you're a real fan, read that one. Otherwise, leave it.
Nice.
Guards and Cohen, yep, excellent cycles.
Oh wow, I have a delay on the chat. There we go. Guards and Cohen. I was like, where are you reading that? Hey. Nice. Terry Pratchett
I was actually so... The death of Pratchett really hit me, because I had been reading every single one of those books since I was 14. Almost, I mean, there are many influences in the way I use language, but Pratchett is probably the biggest influence to the way I talk and to my sense of humor. Like, really, I mean, I was raised on those books.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And I have
I think that's actually, if I'm honest, why I never liked Harry Potter. Because in my head, it was always, some woman has written these fantasy books and they're taking all this attention away from these much better books. I'm not reading those.
That's a valid point.
Don't know how valid it is, but it's certainly childish.
Jelly says he has to limit his game playing at the moment. Yeah,
he's playing more.
I wouldn't do anything. No, I'm not going to say that. But yeah, I'd love to be able to have more time to just deep dive into a game. One of the things that I find is if you don't play with some sort of regularity with a lot of the games that I like playing, is you lose the plot. Not that you go crazy, you just lose where you are in the story, and it's not as fulfilling.
I am gonna mention one more video essay on games that I was fascinated by. I'm actually going to link this one because if you're interested in game design,
I'm curious as to what it is.
this is about Fortnite. And, well, it's called Manufactured Discontent. And it's about predatory game design. And it's absolutely fascinating. Like the tricks that you can use to monetize a game that maybe as game designers we don't want to be, like FOMO and skinner boxing and obfuscation of prices and a whole bunch of other things that you look at them and think, yeah, that was really cynical thing to fire at kids.
I knew where you were going with that lot. Yeah, the whole loot box scandal was ridiculous.
The loot box thing. I mean, just there's all kinds of little things. Like, yeah.
Oh dear. Yep. Be careful with the links. Stay here. Don't leave. Even
Well,
though we're about to wrap up, aren't we?
We're fun. So, does anyone have any thoughts, questions, comments, interpretive dances, or jingles? And the reason I can do that one every week is this is how I used to finish my lectures when I was a professor.
I feel I'm missing out on not having a puppet.
You should buy some puppets. I mean, you have kids. Can't you just hold up your 4-year-old, your 5-year-old? How old is he now?
No, it's not working. I can't even grab a sock.
How old is your kid now?
My kid? One of them 6 and one of them is 8.
I sworn he was 4.
He was 2 years ago.
Which is when I met him.
They grow up so fast. In real time and everything.
Don't appreciate that. So yeah, if no one has any questions or anything, download the demo, see what you think.
Yep.
I always said share, like, and subscribe, but no, I'm not that not that person.
Hit the like button! Share!
Press that bell.
Yes. What is
yeah.
it? If you don't like it, hit the dislike button twice.
No. We'll get the initial stuff to the lifetime backers for the new course, the Canopy cars, soon. Don't have an actual time on that because of reasons.
Yeah.
And then once they've given us some feedback on the early bit and we've got the structure right, we'll get it out to everybody else.
Yeah. Expect on our website for the Blender stuff to start being populated soon. I'm not sure whether I'm going to pop the bundle style one on there just yet. But they will be there individually. And obviously, if you're a lifetime member, you'll get access to those immediately, actually. We can't control whether or not you can see them. The moment I upload videos, you'll have early access to it. So you can sneak peek, make comments as well, because any early feedback is always appreciated.
Yep.
Like, Mike, you've got no sound on this video. Silly me.
Wasn't there a day where you recorded a whole bunch of videos with no sound on them?
No, they all had distorted sound.
Oh, that's right. He was so happy.
I was not happy at all. There was another... Okay, so the course I've just released with Penny, there were 12 videos in a row where my cursor wasn't anywhere on the screen. I was out of my mind. I was like, there's so much work I had
How
to
are you?
do. I was like, where's the cursor gone? And I worked out why it had disappeared, so it should never happen again unless I'm turn off the feature that enables your cursor for some reason.
But yeah, these are the fun behind the scenes looks. I mean, yeah, it's so much that goes on behind the scenes that we don't want to stress people out with. But
which is why we're going to create our rants channel.
Oh, you're doing it too now. Good.
Monkey see, monkey do.
Who can play at that game?
But thank you, everybody, for joining us.
Thank you, everybody. I hope you have a wonderful week. We'll speak to you next week. And live long and prospect.
I don't think that's
Don't get me started on Star Trek Discovery. Thoughts about that show?
Well, that can be the first video on your new channel.
I really liked the first 2 seasons, and the third one, they undid everything they did. Why?
Rants. Oh dear, coffee time with Mikey and Yan. Well, that will be a chilled time until after I've had the coffee. Then you get Hyper Mike and Grumpy
I
Yan.
can't believe it's not decaf. Yeah.
See you later,
Have
guys.
a great time, everyone. Bye.